Hey, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday Learning Bhagavatam class. Today, we're going to speak on Canto 9, Liberation, Chapter 9, the Dynasty of Aṁśumān. And our guest speaker is Haridas Prabhu. Welcome, Haridas Prabhu. Good to see you and have your association again. So thank you very much for this. And over to you, Hari Bol.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. We had a lovely Rath Yatra in London, and it was lovely to see so many devotees, and the sun was shining bright, and it's continued. So, hope my class can also bring sunshine into our darkness and enlighten us. Jai Ho. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jayo Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Jaya Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Maharaj Jayo Patite Pavan Jayo Haribol Radha Madhava ki Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Gurudev ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam
Prabhuji, we can't hear you.
Can't you? Well,
we can hear you, Prabhuji. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
You're muted.
Yeah, maybe it's you.
Continue.
I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear well.
Okay. Can you hear the instrument in the back as well? Tanbura? No?
No.
Maybe. No. Okay, I'll take it near again. Now? Okay. Maybe you can't. I can. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaskite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shaloke Bhaktir Bhaktir Nashtaki Nigam Kalpataro Ragalitam Balam Shukmukhadam Ritadravi Sammitam Vivada Bhagavatam Rasmalayam Nuruho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha So now this is chapter Canto 9 and chapter 9, verse 1. Whenever Prabhuji gives me a chapter, I read it and I'm thinking, what am I going to get from this this chapter? But when I read it, and I get so much there to share with you all. And same thing with this one. We're going to draw parallels with what happened long time ago and how that process is still going on. And we'll give you examples of our recent Srila Prabhupada, what he did. Now you've read chapter 8, and in there, King Sagar, he had released Ashwamedha horse, and Indra stole it. He usually tests people who do this Ashwamedha Yagya. And then he parked it near Kapil Dev Maharaj. So King Sagar was really in anxiety. And Ashwamedha Yagya is amazing. It establishes the territory of the king. Well, he becomes a Smarat emperor, and whoever stops the horse, he has to fight the king's army. But normally people don't challenge that. Pandavas did that, others used to do it. So that is to establish the territory. Plus, it is to satisfy the Lord as well. So it's a religious activity along with the territory right. So King Sagar was really, really worried. So he had two wives, and one of the wives had 60,000 children, and he told them, please go find out where the horse is. Now, 60,000 going on. I mean, when we are at the Rath Yatra, when loads of people are singing, you feel that power and energy. So 60,000 people went out with we'll show who's taken the horse and all that. So they stopped being religious. They felt the force of 60,000. And when they approached, they dug into the earth and trying to find the horse. And when they saw the horse next to Kapil Dev Ji, and Kapil Dev Ji was meditating, peacefully sitting there, and they accused him that he's the one who stole it, and they were going to sort him out. To do this to an avatar of the Supreme Lord Vishnu is an offense. So it is said, Kapildev just opened his eye like, who are the intruders? And 60,000 burned to ashes by their own sinful activity. So when we approach anybody, a devotee, especially when we go to the dhams, and we tend to judge many of the devotees in Vrindavan who are very simply dressed, and especially if they're not ISKCON, we tend to just downgrade them. You got to be very careful. In the dhams, there are people who like to not reveal that they are Vaishnavas. And be careful, otherwise you'll commit an offense and your bhakti will be burned to ashes. So then Sagar asked his grandson, Aṁśumān, to go and find, where the horses and where his uncles were. And so he went forth. So now what I'll do is I'll do justice by reading the Bhagavatam, and then we'll draw parallels and learn shiksha from it. And please, if you have an input into it, do so. I'll try to read quickly because I think you read on Tuesday. So I'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Shukavaj. Aṁśumān chatapastepe ganganayan kamyaya kalam mahantam nashaknot tatha kalena samstitaha. Sukadeva Goswami continued, King Aṁśumān, like his grandfather, performed austerities for a very long time. Nonetheless, he could not bring the Gangaji to his material world, and thereafter, in due course of time, he died. Like Aṁśumān himself, Dilip, his son, was unable to bring the Gangaji to this material world, and he also became a victim of death in due course of time. Then Dilip's son, Bhagirath, performed very severe austerities to bring the Gangaji to this material world. I used to always wonder why they call it Ganges. Why in English they call it Ganges. It's because we say Gangaji. So instead of Gangaji, they call it Ganges. So it's actually Gangaji. Right. Thereafter, Mother Gangaji appeared before King Bhagirath and said, I am very much satisfied with your austerities and am now prepared to give you benedictions as you desire. Being thus addressed by Ganga Devi, Mother Ganga, the king bowed his head before her and explained his desire. In Ramayana and other scriptures, they said actually he pleased Lord Brahmaji, and Brahmaji then said, we'll call, because when Vaman Devji, expanded, he pierced a hole in the surface of the universe, and Gangaji from outside Causal Ocean came in, thus bathing the feet of, Vaman Devji. And Brahmaji held the Gangaji in Kamandalu. So she was there first, Mandakini, she's called over there. And then he pleased Lord Brahma, according to Ramayana and other, scriptures. But here it is said that he spoke directly to Gangaji. So Mother Gangaji said, when I fall from the sky to the surface of the planet Earth, the water will certainly be very forceful. Who will sustain that force? If I am not sustained, I shall pierce the surface of the earth and go down to Rasatal, the Patala area of the universe. So in Patal, she did end up there as well. Gangaji is known by a different name. And Boga, something like that. Okay, I forget now. O King, I do not wish to go down to the planet Earth, for there the people in general will bathe in my water to cleanse themselves of the reactions of the sinful deeds. When all these sinful reactions accumulate in me, how shall I become free from them? You must consider this very carefully. Now, when we, have Kumbh Mela, we get loads of people coming. And we've been there a few times. And I remember the first time I went, when the time happens when everybody's supposed to bathe, the Naga sadhus, they go in first. And if other devotees start to get in, they just push them aside. And there's a reason for that, and we'll come to it later on in other verses here. So Gangaji feels that she gets contaminated. And in Prayag, that's where, when the Kumbh Mela happens, lots more people come there. And they get purified, but then Gangaji Triveni gets contaminated. And so that is a little fear the Gangaji had. Bhagirath said, those who are saintly because of devotional service and are therefore in the renounced order, free from material desires, and who are pure devotees, expert in following the regulative principles mentioned in the Vedas, are always glorious and pure in behavior, and are able to deliver all fallen souls. When such pure devotees bathe in your water, the sinful reactions accumulated from other people will certainly be counteracted. For such devotees always keep in the core of their hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can vanquish all sinful reactions. So that's why the Naga sadhus go in first, because the Amrit has fallen, and the sadhus go in there and they increase that nectar. And I used to think maybe they're being selfish. They want the benefit first. That's why they went there. But later on realized they actually enhance it. And that's why you go in afterwards and you feel very purified. There's something incredible happens. You mentally feel very pure. The next verse, like a cloth woven of threads extending for its length and breadth, this entire universe in all its latitude and longitude is situated under different potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is the incarnation of the Lord, and thus he represents the super soul in the embodied soul. He can sustain your forceful waves on his head. Now, Lord Shivji, we tend not to read much about Lord Shivji. We hear that, when Brahmaji asked the Kumars, 4 Kumaras, to, get married, and they just turned that instruction down. So he got angry, and so Rudra was born. But here it is said, Lord Shiva is the incarnation of the Lord, and thus he represents the super soul in the embodied soul. Now, in Bhagavatam 2nd Canto, the Supreme Lord in the heart is described, and it's not described like Lord Shiva. Kechit svadehantra hiridam vakashe pradeshamatram purusham vasantam chaturbunjam kanjirthang shanka gadadaram dharanya smaranti. So it is at the forearm with a kanj, a flower, a lotus, and a chakra, and a conch, and gada. So that is Supreme Lord. But please realize that the same Lord can expand as Brahma and can expand as Lord Shiva as well. So I would say here, what's required now is the super soul to act as Lord Shiva for a reason. Yeah. Next one. After saying this, Bhagirath satisfied Lord Shiva by performing austerities. O King Parikshit, Lord Shiva was very quickly satisfied with Bhagirath. So Bhagirath did extra austerities to please Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva got pleased easily. Whereas Ganga Mai wasn't pleased by Aṁśumān or Dilip and others. But Shivji is called Ashutosh. And Srila Prabhupada writes, materialistic persons become attached to Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva bestows benedictions upon anyone and everyone very quickly, not caring to know how his devotees prosper or suffer. So, Ashutosh is there. So he was able to please Lord Shivji. When King Bhagirath approached Lord Shiva and requested him to sustain the forceful waves of Gangaji, Lord Shiva accepted the proposal by saying, let it be so. Then with great attention, he sustained the Gangaji on his head. For the water of the Gangaji is purifying, having emanated from the toes of Lord Vishnu, and then in the hair of, it's not written here, of Lord Shivji. And it's not ordinary river. When people at funerals, they call me. I always tell them, if they're Bharatiya people, please take the ashes to, Kankal and Haridwar. Because my Guru Maharaj used to say, look, it's hard to make devotees, but at least when they die, if they take the ashes to Kankal, and then they'll be purified, maybe next life they'll become devotees. And so I've always sort of shared that with people. And people tell me who live in England, well, it's a river, can't we throw the ashes in the river here? I said, might as well throw them in the gutter, because that's water as well. And then they get the point. So Gangaji especially came for this purpose, and we'll read it, what it does, what quality it has, and you know it already. And the great and saintly King Bhagirath brought the Gangaji, which can deliver all the fallen souls to that place on earth where the bodies of his forefathers lay burned to ashes. So, when people die, their bodies are burned and ashes are there. So it's mentioned, the water went on the ashes and they were delivered like that. You can have many questions like, was the soul there or here, there? I don't know. But when the water touches the ashes, the work is done. Bhagirath mounted a swift chariot and drove before Mother Gangaji, who followed him, purifying many countries until they reached the ashes of Bhagirath's forefathers, the sons of Sagar, who were thus sprinkled with water from Gangaji. Because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offended a great personality, the heat of their bodies had increased and they were burned to ashes. But simply by being sprinkled with the water from Gangaji, all of them became eligible to go to the heavenly planets. What then is to be said of those who use the water of Mother Gangaji to worship her? So many, many saintly persons, even now, when it gets hot, I think people go to Haridwar and they bathe in Gangaji. I've been many times in Gangaji and the water is quite cool. But if it's sunny, then when you come out, the body dries up quickly. But a few times I went during winter and my God, it was cold and we start to shake. So, Gangaji is special. Somebody worked very hard to bring Gangaji down for a particular purpose. And that's why when somebody leaves, you must take the ashes. Those who are listening, tell your children, please don't throw the ashes or, put them into the rivers here. It's not about water. Please put them in Haridwar, actually Kankal, then Kushagat, and then purify Har Ki Pauri. Very important. Write it in your will, actually, because you will be delivered. Because why would, Bhagirath and before Dilip and others, do so much austerity to bring the Gangaji down? That is the purpose. But also, when you go there, you offer Gangaji water to Gangaji. We used to do the same for Yamuna. When we go to Vrindavan, we take the water, put the Yajnapurit on the thumb, and offer the water first to Gurudev, then your family, then to Bhakti. And you can imagine that if dead people benefit, the living people who worship Gangaji with Gangaji water, how much more benefit they would get. So please make a note of that. Simply by having water from the Gangaji come in contact with the ashes of their burned bodies, the sons of Sagar Maharaj were elevated to the heavenly planets. Therefore, what is to be said of a devotee who worships Mother Gangaji faithfully with a determined vow? One can only imagine the benefit that accrues to such a devotee. So obviously, there's different benefits. This verse is saying that, because the ones whose ashes, get the water, they go to heavenly planets. But to the devotees, there's a greater award. Because Mother Gangaji emanates from the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anantadev, she's able to liberate one from material bondage. Therefore, whatever is described herewith about her is not at all wonderful. That is the quality of Gangaji. And I'll pause here a little bit. When I was reading this, I realized Kapil Dev is also the Supreme Lord. And he told Aṁśumān, call Gangaji, and so the ashes will be delivered. And the water, came because of Vamandev, because it pierced the universe surface. So you can see the Lord is prescribing the solution. So the situation was there, and it's the Lord from whose feet the Gangaji comes, and he tells Aṁśumān, you should pray for Gangaji to come down. It's the Lord giving instruction. And there must be a reason why Kapil Dev did that, because he wanted the future generations also to be delivered. Otherwise, he could have brought the 60,000, dead uncles back to life just like that. But he's done it for us. So again, those who are listening, don't ignore, Ganga Devi. She specially come to deliver us. Don't wait also till when you die, somebody puts the ashes. Go beforehand and go to Gangaji, go to Mayapur, bathe in there, go to Triveni Sangam. That's why these bathings in there is actually helping you, towards a better future when you leave this body. Great sages, completely freed from material lusty desires, devote their minds fully to the service of the Lord. Such persons are liberated from material bondage without difficulty, and they become transcendently situated, acquiring the spiritual quality of the Lord. This is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, when a devotee becomes pure, he's representing the Supreme Lord, because he's always feeling the Lord in the heart. Apiche Sudura, that's the other one, sorry. They think of the Lord all the time. Yogi namapi sarvesham, mat gatenantar atmana. So mat gatenantar atma, in the 6th chapter, I think it's 42 verse, it says there that the one who thinks of me all the time is very, very dear to me. So devotees have the qualities of the Supreme Lord. Bhagirath had a son named, so this one is the lineage, and I'm going to read fast through it because many of the names I don't know them. Perhaps you might know them, but I'll read them. Bhagirath had a son named Shruta, whose son was Nabha. This son was different from the Nabha previously described. Nabha had a son named Sindhu Dvipa. From Sindhu Dvip came Ayutayu, and from Ayutayu came Rituparna, who became a friend of Nalraj. Rituparna taught Nalraj the art of gambling, and Nalraj gave Rituparna lessons in controlling and maintaining horses. The son of Rituparna was Sarvakam. Sarvakam had a son named Sudas. So this is going to become interesting. Sarvakam had a son named Sudas, whose son, known as Saudas, was the husband of Damayanti. Saudas is sometimes known as Mitrasaha or Kalma Shapad. Because of his own misdeed, Mitrasaha was sonless and was cursed by Vashist to become a man-eater Rakshas. So then this is stated generally. Now the story. King Parikshit said, O Shukdev Goswami, why did Vashit, the spiritual master of Shaudas, curse that great soul? I wish to know of this. If it is not a confidential matter, please describe it to me. And here's a story. Shukdev Goswami said, once Saudas went to live in the forest, where he killed a man-eater Rakshas, but forgave and released the man-eater's brother. That brother, however, decided to take revenge, thinking to harm the king. He became the cook at the king's house. One day, the king's spiritual master, Vashishth Muni, was invited for dinner, and the Rakshas cook served him human flesh. So, many of us grihasthas, we invite devotees into our house. And we did that. Our Guru Maharaj used to stay with us for 3 months at a time for 35 years. And I remember he was a regular in the evening. Then, Premanji would cook, and we kept the house very quiet. And my brothers were living next door. So then, if any guests came, they had to be quiet while Maharaj is honoring Prasad. And you can't be funny, joking, and everything when a spiritual master or any sadhu comes to the house. You can be jovial, but You should control yourself, what exchanges you take. And so many times we used to get people who didn't know the etiquette. And then once I remember, somebody came in, and my Guru Maharaj was there, and Giriraj Maharaj was there, both of them eating, and there was prasadam there. It so happens this guest came in. He wasn't a devotee, but he knew us. He came in, he just picked up pakora from the table and started to eat. As he came in, just said, hello, hello, and did that. And neither of them, Maharaji, said anything, but they didn't touch that serving at all. And I was so angry, thinking, what is this guy doing, And so this incident is similar, that Vashisthi has come and the Rakshas has taken advantage of it. While examining the food given to him, Vashisth Muni, by his mystic power, could understand that it was unfit to eat. Being the flesh of human being, he was very angry at this and immediately cursed Saudas to become a man-eater. When Vashisth understood that the human flesh had been served by the Rakshas, not by the king, he undertook 12 years of austerity to cleanse himself for having cursed the faultless king. So Vashisthi also, could have countered it, but he just realized he also made a mistake. So having contaminated food in a household is dangerous, both for those who are living there and even the guests. So you can say even Vashisthi made a mistake. It gets contamination. I remember one sadhu, he came to somebody's house in England, and he could feel it because something isn't right. Are you keeping something you shouldn't be keeping? And this person wasn't initiated, but I used to welcome, spiritual people. And he goes, yeah, Christmas is near. I've got some alcohol. And he goes, I thought there was something because I wasn't feeling right. Show me where it is. And then because he was a businessman, he had loads of whiskey bottles. And he saw them and he goes, get them all out. And he goes, okay, I'll give them to someone else. He goes, no, this is poison. If you can't have the poison, you shouldn't give it to others. He said, take them all out. Took them all out. And he says, in the garden, he said, just pour all the whiskey out. He goes, that cost me quite a lot. He was going to give it out as Christmas. And, he poured it all out. So, this contamination can be, it's like the weather, when the weather changes, everybody feels it, So please, when you invite devotees and all that, don't take a risk. Make sure there's purity there. Otherwise, paap aapko lagega. And because their consciousness will change. There's many stories like that. So, well, we got to read this, so I'll carry on. So when Vashisth understood that the human flesh had been served by the Rakshas, not by the king, he undertook 12 years of austerities to cleanse himself for having cursed the faultless king. Meanwhile, King Saudas took water and chanted the sharp mantra, preparing to curse Vashisth. But his wife, Madhyanti, forbade him to do so. So our better halves are very good. Even Draupadi, when Ashwatthama was going to be killed, she said, no, please don't kill him, even though he killed the 5 children. So they're called Dharampatnis. They give wisdom to their husband. And similarly, husband gives to the Dharampatni as well. So Madhyanti said, please don't do that. Then the king saw that the 10 directions, the sky and the surface of the globe were full of living entities everywhere. So what did he do? Saudas thus acquired the propensity of a man-eater and received on his leg a black spot, for which he was known as Kalmashapad. Once King Kalmashapad saw a Brahmin couple engaged in sexual intercourse in the forest. Being influenced by the propensity of a Rakshas and being very hungry, King Saudas seized the Brahmin. Then the poor woman, the Brahman's wife, said to the king, "O hero, you are not actually a man-eater. Rather, you are among the descendants of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Indeed, you are a great fighter, the husband of Madhyanti. You should not act irreligiously in this way. I desire to have a son. Please therefore return my husband who has not yet impregnated me." I mean, he's a Brahmani. Brahm janati iti Brahmana. Brahmins are full of knowledge and siddhis. So she just looked at him and just said, who you are, Anybody else wouldn't have been able to guess it, but she did. O king, O hero, this human body is meant for universal benefits. If you kill this body untimely, you will kill all the benefits of a human life. So Srila Prabhupada writes, and Narottam Das Thakur wrote a song, Hari Hari Vifale Janam Gonainu. The body of a human being is extremely valuable because in this body, one can understand the instructions of Krishna and attain the ultimate destination of the living entity. The living entity is within the material world to fulfill the mission of going back home, back to Godhead. So, there's more there, but please let's not waste our opportunity. Komar Achrit Pragya, Dharman Bhagavataniya, Durlabham Mansham Janama, Tadapi Adruvam Arthadam. So Prahlad Maharaj said that as well. Even don't waste your youth or childhood, even 5-year-old. We tend to waste all our lives saying, oh, when we get old, we'll read the Gita and whatever. Abhi kya yaar, isme phas gaye. Some people used to see me saying, did some tragedy happen, then you became Krishna conscious? I said, no, everything was going great. My mother used to say, he enjoyed life and then turned to Krishna conscious. I said, kha pi ke choda hai. So you should start your Krishna conscious early. Here is a learned, highly qualified Brahman, engaged in performing austerity and eagerly desiring to worship the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul who lives within the core of the heart in all living entities. So she endorsed that her husband is Jnani, a devotee, and they wanted offspring. And it's amazing that this king interfered with that. So there's a reaction for that. My Lord, you're completely aware of the religious principle. As a son never deserves to be killed by his father, here is a Brahman who should be protected by the king and never killed. How does he deserve to be killed by a Raj Rishi like you? She even called him Raj Rishi to pacify him. You're well known and worshipped in learned circles. How dare you kill this Brahman, who is a saintly, sinless person, well versed in Vedic knowledge? Killing him would be like destroying the embryo within the womb or killing a cow. So, Brahman cows, they are really protected by Krishna. And if you kill them, hurt them, there's a reaction. Without my husband, I cannot live for a moment. If you want to eat my husband, it would be better to eat me first. For without my husband, I'm as good as a dead body. So here is the Grihastha Ashram mentioned that when husband and wife or Dharampati, Dharampatni are doing worship, they are assisting each other to go back to Godhead. And if you hurt one of them, there's a reaction. Being condemned by the curse of Vashisht, King Saudas devoured the Brahman. Even though he heard all the arguments, exactly as a tiger eats a prey. Even though the Brahman's wife spoke so pitiably, Saudas was unmoved by her lamentation. So that shows you when you get cursed, your buddhi goes brushed. You go into tamogun. These gunas are very, very powerful. Like that's why you follow the 4 principles. No meat eating, no fish, no eggs, no onion, no garlic. Many people say no onion, no garlic. Yes, no, it gives you tamogun. And no drugs, no alcohol, no smoking, and then no illicit sex and no gambling. Again and again we say that. But we get people come to the temple and they want to argue about it, about this, that, and the other. And what can you do? It's your decision, but that's contamination. When the chaste wife of a Brahmin saw that her husband, who was about to discharge semen, had been eaten by the man-eater, she was overwhelmed with grief and lamentation. Thus she angrily cursed the king. So he's been cursed again. And it's not his fault. It was the Rakshas who introduced the flesh, and then he got Vashishji cursed him. Now this Brahmani is cursing him. O foolish, sinful person, because you have eaten my husband, when I was sexually inclined and desiring to have the seed of a child, I shall also see you die when you attempt to discharge semen in your wife. In other words, whenever you attempt to sexually unite with your wife, you shall die. Thus the wife of the Brahmin cursed King Saudas, known as Mitra Saha. Then, being inclined to go with her husband, she set fire to her husband's bones, fell into the fire herself, and went with him to the same destination. So after 12 years, when King Saudas was released from the curse by Vashisht, he wanted to have sexual intercourse with his wife. But the queen reminded him about the curse by the Brahmani, and thus he was checked from sexual intercourse. So you can see that these incidents which happen, if you're a devotee, sometimes this curse is to your advantage. And, in one sense, when old age comes, the desire for sexual intercourse and all that actually goes down. And instead of Vairag, they go for Viagra or whatever that medicine was. You can have that and still enjoy it, old age. So many of them start to die of heart attacks and all that. This desire of lust going down is a bonus for the devotees. Because when you're young, you have to control them. But when you're old, those desire, the ability goes. It's a kind of a curse, but it's a good thing. Because then you can focus on your bhakti. Even the digestion goes, so you eat less, and some of them sleep less because they can't sleep. Then you can do more chanting. So it's a kind of a curse, old age, disease, and death. But there's an advantage if you turn to Krishna consciousness. After being thus instructed, the king gave up the future happiness of sexual intercourse and by destiny remained sonless. Later, with the king's permission, the great saint Vashisht begot a child in the womb of Madhyanti. Now, Madhyanti is the one who told Saudas, don't curse Vashishtji. See, it's amazing. That good deed earned her that the offspring she'll have is of Vashisht Muni. And it says the kings used to always associate with, saints. There's an advantage. They get guidance, and sometimes even Vyasdevji, when it comes to the, later on Pandavas and all that, they are able to give them next generation. So here, Kapil Dev, when the 60,000 sons of Sagar, they were burned to ashes. You can say in one sense, although there was Aṁśumān who would carry on the destination, but, many of them were killed. Here also, this king was sonless. So the dynasty, Surya dynasty would stop. But then Vashishtji helped here. So he gave the future. And Bhagirath saved the past by bringing the Gangaji and bringing the ashes. So the past was corrected and the future was started with Vashishtji because of, this queen saying, don't curse him. And so she qualified. Madhyanti bore the child within the womb for 7 years and did not give birth. So it was an ordinary child, ordinary birth. Therefore, Vashisht struck her abdomen with a stone, and then the child was born. Consequently, the child was known as Ashmaka. Ashmaka, the child born of a stone. Now, when I read all this thing, I said, what am I going to say about this? I mean, what can we say? But one thing I can say is, these Rishi Munis, and they know the body, how it works and all that. We take great pride that, the scientists these days can do this and do that. But, these saints could do it as well, and we should really respect that they knew exactly what to do. From Ashmak, Balika took birth. Because Balika was surrounded by the women and was therefore saved from the anger of Parshuram, because Parshuram was around at that period. He was known as Nari Kavach. Kavach means protection. So he was protected by women. One who was protected by women. So when Parshuram vanquished all the Kshatriyas, look at this again, Balika became the progenitor of more Kshatriyas. Therefore, he's known as Mulaka, the root of the Kshatriya dynasty. So you can see that Vashishtji also started the dynasty, and now Balika as well started the progenitor because most of the Kshatriyas were killed. So this is about Surya dynasty, Surya Vansh, and this is the 9th canto, where 9th canto covers Lord Ram's appearance. So this is interesting how, just like Gangaji wouldn't come, and when he did, Bhagirath had to take him. So even the dynasty was stopping and starting and all that. And this dynasty, just like Gangaji, is going to deliver, us. So this lineage delivers us. We think of Lord Ram, think of Dashrath, and so many other kings in that line, Harishchandra. And just like Gangaji, even this dynasty, memory of that is purified. Because I should think, why in Bhagavatam, these, so many kings, I can't even remember the names are given. It's like watching Gangaji. You don't recognize that part of the water. It just comes and goes. So by knowing this pidi, as they call it, you're actually purifying yourself. So that's why, otherwise I was going to not even address it. So I'm reading those names. From Balika came a son named Dashrath. From Dashrath, it's not the same Dashrath as Lord Ram's. It's another Dashrath. Dashrath came a son named Aidavit. So Aidavidi. And from Aidavidi came King Vishvasaha. The son of King Vishvasaha was the famous Maharaj Katvang. Now that's the king we're going to talk about. King Katvang was unconquerable in any fight. Requested by the demigods to join them in fighting the demons, he won victory, and the demigods, being very pleased, wanted to give him benediction. The king inquired from them about the duration of his life and was informed that he had only one moment more. Thus, he immediately left his palace and went to his own residence, where he engaged his mind fully on the lotus feet of the Lord. Now, that's incredible. He only had little time. And King, Katvang is mentioned in the 2nd canto, 1st chapter, 13th verse, when Parikshit Maharaj is saying, I've been cursed, after 7 days I'll die. And this was mentioned that Katvang only had a moment and he was successful, and you got 7 days. So Prabhupada explains in that purport, about Katvanga. And so here he is. So Prabhupada said the example of Maharaj Katvang in performing devotional service is brilliant. Maharaj Katvang engaged himself for only a moment in devotional service to the Lord, but he was promoted back to Godhead. Therefore, if one practices devotional service from the beginning of his life, surely he will return home back to Godhead without a doubt. In Bhagavad Gita, the word Aṁśumān is used to describe the devotee. There the Lord himself gives this instruction. This is 7.1. Maya Shakta Manha Paratha Yogam Yunjam Mad Ashraya Asamsayam Smagram Mam Yatha Gyasit Tachrinu. Now hear, O son Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. And also Krishna in the 4th chapter 9 verse says, Janam karam chame divyam evam yoveti tatvata tyaktava deham punarjanam neti meti so Arjuna. So one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. So the Lord has given a formula as well. And we read this verse, we memorize this verse, and many times we waste our time. We don't understand the appearance of Krishna and then his Leela as well. We must delve into it. And if somebody says you got very short time to live, Srila Prabhupada was translating the Bhagavatam. He was on the bed, he was translating for us. It's amazing. That's what a devotee is. He realizes, I'll read further what Katvanga said. And Maharaj Katvanga thought, not even my life is dearer to me than the Brahminical culture and the Brahmanas who are worshipped by my family. What then is to be said of my kingdom? Land, wife, children, opulence. Nothing is dearer to me than the Brahmins. So, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hataya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah. When we offer Bhoga, we say this. I offer my respectful obeisance to the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, who is the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmins, as well as the living entities in general. So you can see the Brahmins as being valued. But in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. And so we must Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. So we must read Bhagavatam, must read Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have these books. Prabhupada worked so hard, just like Bhagirath worked so hard, to get the Gangaji down. Srila Prabhupada worked so hard. So I'm going to draw a comparison. Srila Prabhupada is just like Bhagirath. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is like Aṁśumān. He actually revitalized in Bharatvarsh, 64 months, the Krishna consciousness. Then who became Bhagirath? Srila Prabhupada. Just like, Bhagirath went and Gangaji went back, the Gangaji-like knowledge of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita followed Srila Prabhupada to America. And over there, then he opened centers. And then he went around the world about 13 times. Wherever he went, this Ganga followed. To do what? To deliver living entities like us. That's amazing analogy. So we should be so proud of Srila Prabhupada that whatever he did is also covered here, what Bhagirath did, and Prabhupada did the same. And we should also do that, take this knowledge of Ganga-like knowledge from Bhagavad, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Yare Dekha Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesh, Amar Agya Guru Hona Tar Ei Desh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, wherever you are, you deliver the people with Krishna conscious, give them the knowledge, ask them to chant. And so Katvanga goes, I was never attracted even in my childhood by insignificant things or irreligious principles. I did not find anything more substantial than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although we think towards the end he turned to the Lord, but there it is, Komara Achrit Pragya. He was in his childhood, he was also, thinking of the Supreme Lord. And Parikshit Maharaj used to play with dolls like Krishna and Radharani and like that. So you can see these great personalities. Here in the purport, it says, the Mahabhagavat, the advanced devotee, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their forms. Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifestation, the form of the Supreme Lord. Although a devotee is within the material world, he has no connection with it. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. He accepts this material world in relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, what did Katvanga say next? The demigods, the directors of the three worlds, wanted to give me whatever benediction I desired. I did not want their benedictions. However, because I'm interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created everything in this material world, I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than in all the material benedictions. Now, this is amazing. This Katvanga king, he was invited to fight with the demigods. So he was in the heavenly planets. So powerful, man. And when he was told that you only got a moment to live, he just came back to his place, which is planet Earth, and focused on the Supreme Lord. So he knew what heavens was like. And the 60,000 of Sagar's children who died, when Gangaji, water touched their ashes, they went to heavenly planets. And he went without Gangaji. And who did he think of? The Supreme Lord when he had a moment to live. So please realize, here is somebody who beamed to heaven and helped the heavenly people, and yet he chose to turn to the Supreme Lord at the last minute and even consider this material world as really irrelevant, because he saw that is Lord's kingdom as well. So we should do the same. Although we're in the material world, rather than keep on looking at, oh my God, birth, death, old age, disease, and all that, and worry about that, Dukhalyama Shashvatam is its nature. We should see it as a kingdom of the Supreme Lord. We should see that many dynasties, Surya Vansh, Chandra Vansh, all of those dynasties have come. They brought the elements from the causal ocean. They brought, Radharani sort of instructed, I won't go to Vrindavan till Govardhan goes or Yamuna goes. So they brought these incredible spiritual elements, absolute elements, and we're still not realizing the benefit we're going to get by bathing in Yamuna, in Gangaji, going to Giriraj, doing Parikrama, we still look at the deaths and this and poverty and whatever, worry about that. Well, the body, at the end, even if you're comfortable, when it dies, it will start to rot straight away. So you're spending all that time to preserve it, and yet it'll be the death of you. How about focusing on the Atma Tattva? So Prabhupada's instructions to us and chanting of the holy name, is very, very important. And Kali Yuga is terrible, but one Mahan thing, Ekoi Mahan, is Krishna Nam, Krishna Kirtan. So you can see he actually rejected the heaven as well and the earth as well. Even though the demigods have the advantage of being situated in the higher planetary system, their minds, senses, and intelligence are agitated by material conditions. So he's witnessed that even though they're in heavens, we want to go to heaven, but they are troubled as well. Therefore, even such elevated persons fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is eternally situated in the core of the heart. What then is to be said of others, such as human beings, who have fewer advantages? So I actually thought about it, that can we compare this episode to a rich person who, works so hard to increase their wealth, have properties, become billionaires for their future generation. And Sagar, he did Ashwamedha Yajna for that as well, but for higher purpose as well. But you can draw the comparison that a rich man is actually wasting his time, because his generation, future generation, just like Sagar's generation, there was problems on the way, even though they were dharmic. And materialist people are not dharmic at all. More and more people are becoming godless. And so they are really wasting their time, because they don't realize what's the aim of human birth. It's the highest birth. When Brahmaji created the humans, all the demigods applauded, saying, now you created an incredible speech like that, because we can go from here back to Godhead, the goal of Vrindavan. So then, therefore, I should now give up my attachment for things created by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I should engage in the thought of the Lord and should thus surrender unto Him. This material creation, having been created by the external energy of the Lord, is like an imaginary town visualized on a hill or in a forest. Every conditioned soul has natural attraction and attachment for material things, but one must simply give up this attachment and surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So next, thus Maharaj Katwang, by his advanced intelligence in rendering service to the Lord, gave up false identification with the body, full of ignorance. In this original position of eternal servitorship, he engaged himself in rendering service to the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva Krishna, is extremely difficult to understand for unintelligent men who accept him as impersonal or void, which he is not. The Lord is therefore understood and sung about by pure devotees. And it is in Bhagavatam 1-11, Vadanti tat-tat-bhavidas tattvam yad jnanamadvyam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagvaniti shabdyate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases: as Brahman, as Paramatma, and as Bhagwan. But he's the same Lord, is their perspective. And eventually, when you go to the Bhagwan stage, that's when you become a Bhagavat, a devotee, a Bhakta. And before that, if you think of the Lord in the heart, that's yogi. And Brahmajanatiti Brahmana, I said that, Brahmbhuta Prasanatma na Shojti na Kangsti. So then you can be peaceful. But once you get involved with Bhagwan, the Leela, that's when your rasa comes in, the relationship with him. So that's the last verse. So I like to just say a few things. so when Gangaji was going to come, it became proud, saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to go through the planet Earth." So there was pride there. But Lord Shivaji greatness and Shiva restraint transformed overwhelming force into compassion and mercy. He just said, "Yep, I'll just take her on in my head." And great people, they will take on the stress of others so others can benefit. So we appreciate Lord Shivji for that. And Gangaji represents mercy, spiritual power, transcendental descent. Just realize that descent coming, but it needed a medium. So Shivji represented steadiness, receptivity, discipline, consciousness. So if she had come directly, it would have been a problem. So many people want the Shuddha Bhakti directly as well without the Guru. It'll be a problem. You need a via media, and that's the spiritual master. So please realize Bhakti is very, potent. You can't have it directly. Brahmante Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. It's a beej which has to be given to you. And any seed then becomes an incredible tree. You can't have the tree on you, You can hold the beej in your hand, but you can't hold a tree. But that's what it is. The Guru will then plant the beej, and then everything flowers and flourishes. And the mercy requires a proper vessel. That's why you have to be austere. Sagar's 60,000 approached the Lord. Kapil Dev thinking, he's a thief. And they were feeling full of, we are somebody, and many people do approach devotion, bhakti with, I'm beautiful, I'm rich, I'm intelligent, all this. They get burnt. But Aṁśumān, like humble people, when they approach anybody, they say prayers, they realize their own low position, they appreciate the high position of the personalities, they then receive. And even then he couldn't receive. He started something he couldn't finish. And Dilip came after that. It's Bhagirath who succeeded. So sometimes we start a project and we can't finish, but it doesn't mean that if you can't finish it, you shouldn't start it. Srila Prabhupada started something amazing, and we're going to have TOVP temple in Mayapur, and Mayapur has expanded, and we can see Prabhupada's little hut there. So, and also the long building was built when Prabhupada was there. But now he's not seeing all the divine arrangement there. But Srila Prabhupada just went around. Bhaktisiddhanta Ji never saw Srila Prabhupada achieve success, but he started something. So similarly, we should not think, I'm getting old, what can I do? We should start. Let the next generation then, go ahead and do the rest. What time are we? So what I'll do is I'll wrap up here and then maybe take your questions. And there were many, many other points, and they'll come, while I'm talking to you. So is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhu. That's a wonderful class as always. Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, please do raise your hand or virtual hand, and I'll call you out. Whilst we're waiting for devotees to do that, I had a couple of questions relating to the Ganges. What should we do before and whilst bathing in the Ganges, ensuring we respect Mother Ganga?
What should we do?
Yeah, what should we do before we enter into the Ganges?
Oh, no, I mean, normally, like like Radha Kund, Sham Kund, Yamuna, you bow down first and you say Guru Pranam, or if you don't have a Guru, Prabhupada Pranam. So that will make you humble. Rather than, oh, great, it's cool water, let's go in, and like Radha Kund, Prabhupada said that we devotees shouldn't go in there. Before he didn't say no. But some of the devotees just dived in like they do in a swimming pool. So the Brajbasis went and complained to Srila Prabhupada and said, look, they are not respecting Radha Kund Shankar. It's the highest, Tirath. So then Prabhupada said, okay, just put 3 drops on your head. And so it should be with respect. And because Ganga Ji is life. It's not that she spoke to Bhagirath and then she goes quiet. And the Shantanu, she married Shantanu as well. So when you're approaching, it's like a lady, a Mata, Ganga Mai. So you bow down and then you go in there. And normally you bow down and put some water on your head and then slowly go into it, rather than just put your feet in first, And respectfully, I would say, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. And just to follow up on that, if devotees are unable to go to the Ganges because of personal reasons, i.e., because of difficulties in circumstance, how can they be delivered in a similar way to bathing in the Ganges at their own home?
Normally, people bring Ganga water from, the Ghat, and get it from the Ghat. If you get it from the shops, we're not sure what the commercial people can do. But if somebody goes to Haridas, say, "Can you bring me some water?" And when somebody passes away, just before they do, we actually put 1 or 2 drops of water in a glass of water, and that turns to Gangaji as well, and tell them to drink. And it has benefits, but only if you can't go there. But otherwise, you should make an attempt, because Aṁśumān, Dilip, and others, they tried very hard, and we must strive to, be there. And if you can't do it, and then get somebody's help, But otherwise, don't write it up. Say, "Well, I don't like Bharat. It's too hot. It's too dirty, or this and that. I don't want to go." But then, Gangaji will say, "I don't want to go. I don't want to come to England. I don't want to go to this guy." She'll say that as well. So, Krishna says, "As you approach me, I respond accordingly." So Gangaji can do the same, But those who can't, they're ill and they're nearly dying, and then Gangajal, please give it to them with Tulsi Jal as well. And there's another thing: if you have Jagannath rice, from Jagannath Puri, they put it in the water, and so there's Svet Ganga in Jagannath Puri. So you put if you don't have Ganga Jal, you take water and this dry rice grains, you put them in the water, it turns into Gangaji as well. So there you are. There's a fast track one.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Brigitte Mataji, would you like to ask your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Haridas, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this beautiful session. I have a question about the realization in the time of death. You mentioned this, and if I know I need to dive more in this and the story you told us, but it's just a little bit still confusing for me, because if in life there is a big process we have to make to attain the realizations or the ultimate realization, so how could you maybe summarize this process, or maybe if there is a process, or what are maybe the characteristics we should attain at this time, if it just if it is, yeah, maybe we want, of course, I know we have we should do the process, we have to do the process in life, but just is something still confusing for me, because I mean, sorry if I am
what is your confusion? What is your confusion?
That for me is, if the process during life to attain the realization is very hard, how it is possible to make the realization just maybe in some seconds at the time of death, if our mind, or how are which are the characteristics we expect to we hope to attain at this time of death, if we want to do this at death at this time.
Thank you for that. I'll attempt. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraj, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha." So it's called Sharanagati. And so while we have time, because Kadvanga he asked, "How long have I got?" It goes, "A moment." But we're going to die, we know, but we don't know when. So years have gone on in our bhakti and all that, and you should know whether you've surrendered to Krishna or surrendered to gossip or surrendered to speculation, surrendered to this, that, and the other. And you must bring it. That's why man mana bhav mad bhakto madhya jimam namaskaru. These 4 things item, think of me, become my devotee, surrender to me and worship me. So these 2 verses are the most confidential of the Gita. So if you continue to do that, and if you were somewhere where you couldn't be by Ganga Ji or whatever, and then you died, but your consciousness, you become Krishna conscious, and Krishna will save you. And he says in Isha-Panishad, even if you forget Krishna at the end, but Krishna will remember all that you have done, for him. So your daily life should be such that this is my last day. But if your daily life is, I've got 100 years, and then you'll have sense gratification, I'll eat this and I'll do that. Your timetable will be all about your body satisfaction. But when you think, I only got a day to live, like Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days, and he stopped eating and drinking. On the 4th day, they asked him, would you like to, eat something and take a break? He goes, I've eaten so much, it could be mountain could be made. I've drunk so much, a lake could be made, but I never got satisfied. But you have spoken, Krishna, the Leelas, and my heart feels satisfied. I'm not hungry or thirsty anymore. Now, we are not at that stage. So that's why, our practice should be quite strict. But we do fail. We are humans and we make mistakes. That's why you need to have association. That's why if you don't associate, you're staying on your own and there's nobody coming and checking on you. You can have negative feelings and maybe your Shraddha won't be there. But we have to make our Shraddha into Nishtha. Means you just say, there's only Krishna and nothing else. I'll just share a little verse with you. I'm trying to memorize recently. Just excuse me. Where is it? Hold on a second. Just the other day, Prabhupada, because I like to listen to Prabhupada. It goes, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Shudrid Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krit Hoya. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. So a devotee, pure devotee, then doesn't turn to anybody else. Just like Katvanga, just turn to the Supreme Lord. Parikshit Maharaj, just turn to the Supreme Lord. Whereas others were doing, other yagyas and things like that, so they're distracted. But when you realize, okay, this could be my last day, and you're focused like that, you will get another day. And so whatever purification you go today will go into the next day. And then death won't surprise you. But if every day you don't feel Krishna conscious, you must be worried that, some devotees meet me saying, maybe this life I won't make it, next life I will. That's a big gamble, How do you know you're going to be a human being next life? Because it is said here, the Brahmani said it, the human life is very valuable. And it's rare, but it's so valuable because it can deliver you. So let's not take risks like that. But so you need good association. Your sadhana should be good. And I don't know whether you're initiated or not, but initiation is very important. Because the guru gives the thing, you got to take a decision, and surrender to a spiritual master. And if you are initiated and you're not feeling, that spiritual, just try to follow the instruction of your spiritual master. And his instruction is going to be surrender to Krishna. And so, worship your guru, listen to his instructions, and then you become fearless. And one of the qualities is abhayam, sattva sanshuddhir jnana yoga vyavasthiti. You should become fearless, saying, I'm protected because I'm honestly, trying to follow the instructions of Guru, Gauranga and Govinda. And that'll give you confidence. But if you're not feeling confident, something isn't right. Maybe your association isn't strong. And maybe your reading is okay, but just like Gangaji couldn't come directly, you had to go to Shivji first. So maybe you need to, associate and hear from others. who are senior to you, and then you'll pick up, you start to improve. I don't know whether I've justified your question.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, feel strong. Feel strong. Always just think, I'm going to try harder. Yeah.
Yes, I try. Thank you so much.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Sadhu Mataji, would you like to ask your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very, very much for today. I don't know where to start. I will show you. This is do you see this? This is one chapter, and this is all this paper that I have there is my question. So much question I have, but I know I'm not going to have chance to ask all the question. But there is something that I very important for me to understand. We talk about ganja and that it's purifying. First yogis go in, and then afterwards everybody else goes in.
Yes.
That I understand. But what I don't get is there is no any control over all these people who are going in the ganja if they really, really follow all the Supreme Lord's instruction, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean still they are going to be also purified?
Yeah, it's like, if you put your hand in fire, knowingly or unknowingly, it burns, right? Gangaji's qualities will purify you, but to what extent? Like all the 60,000, they ended up in heaven. But it says later on, what about those who actually worship Gangaji with Gangaji water? They get higher reward. It's like money, you got 10 pounds, I got 200 pounds. Somebody's got £1 million, but we all got money, but we don't have the same wealth. So even Krishna says, as you approach me, I respond accordingly. And so you have to know how, to approach this transcendence, even approach a personality like, Kapil Dev. The two approaches was 60,000 called him a thief, and where Aṁśumān praised him. And you're dealing with the same entity, but look at the different results. So we have to refine our approaches. Even going to Gangaji, you will get benefit. It's better than not going. But if you follow the etiquette properly, then you get blessed. I used to go to Rath Yatras. I've been to one Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. And I remember people were able to embrace Lord Jagannath, and Premanji, my wife, and others were able to do that. And I missed out in the temple room. But later on Rath Yatra, when Jagannathji came out, the Panda told me, don't worry, don't embrace him like that. You should put your head on the hand of Jagannathji, get blessing. These people are greedy. They're trying to think, if I do that, I'll get more benefit. And so I did exactly that. And all the Pandas applauded, saying, this is the person who knows, because I heard the instruction how to do it. It's a fantastic story what happened to me, but I'm just saying the basic thing. So the etiquette and all that should be learned from spiritual master and others. And without that, you will get some benefit, but not the ultimate benefit. Because that is called tamogun. You should be in satogun in doing everything. And we don't bother to do that. We're just thinking we want shortcuts, instant tea, instant coffee, instant liberation, but just realize you got to train your mind, train yourself, saying, what is the right approach or right way to do it? And if you don't do that, you'll get some benefit, but not the ultimate.
May I ask another question, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. In verse 19, it's talk about the spiritual master who felt the food that he got was not right and cursed the king, got angry and cursed the king.
Okay,
what I don't know.
Let me
Sorry.
get to that. 9.
It was the Vashishka.
Okay,
who's
number 9.
eating.
Is it number 19? Verse 19.
Yes. Is
King Parikshit said, curse that great soul, okay? I wish to know of
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Yes. And what I don't understand, that he is a mystic man. He can see, he could feel the food was not good. He could understand that. How couldn't he understand that this was not king, so that he didn't need to curse him?
Yeah, I did say while I was talking about that verse, when a place is contaminated, you know, it affects several personalities. And he had the vision to see that this is not kosher, it's not pure, you know, and the only person he knew was Saudas. So he thought this is a trick, because it could be a trick. I mean, you know, he could have, not that he's cooked it, the king, obviously king wouldn't cook it, but because it had flesh in it, thinking he must have authorized it. Because Vashishji was opposed by, you know, other kings in the past as well, because he had a cow which will calm the new cow. So he realized maybe this is a plot, something to contaminate him. Right? So, and I know what you're saying, that if he was so, you know, Trikaldarshi, he wouldn't know exactly who did it and everything. Yeah. But
because for me, I understand, because of the many things that happen following each other, it's almost like they are planned to be that way. You know what
correct.
I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
For instance, Vamana, they're putting his food in the water, Ganga,
Yes.
run because of his food and so on, and then comes down, and then this forfeither are going to be their ashes going to be washed by
Yes.
Ganges.
Yes.
It's almost like plan. Everything
Destined.
is followed like chain. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And these personalities help in that, because what's going to happen is ultimately the rest of us are going to benefit from this. There's a Leela happening which seems to be adverse and shocking, but look at the results of it. Like 60,000 being raised to ashes, right? But then there was outcome because somebody did austerities for one generation, second generation, third, then somebody succeeded. And then, you know, later on, this thing happens in the same dynasty. So you can see in our families as well, we become Krishna conscious, and maybe our children won't, but maybe their children would. And so Vashishji, this was part of the Leela of the Supreme Lord saying he should curse him, because the Lordship appeared in that dynasty, Ramchandraji. And Vashishta was his guru as well, Lord Ram's guru. And so sometimes the Lord wants his devotees to, like Jay and Vijay, you know, they would never curse the Lord, but they did it like that. So rather than look into it, I would say that because the food was contaminated, although he didn't eat it, but because this plot was, he thought it's a plot, he cursed quickly. But then he did the austerity for 12 years. He realized, I'm not perfect here. And we should also do that. When we make a mistake, know that, oh, I'm better than that devotee, I'm not going to, let's have atonement then. Either fast for a day or something like that. So we can all make mistakes.
Thank you. I will give chance to others. If there is time, I will ask more.
Yeah. And Vashishji continued to have his powers, you know, if you can see. And then, you know, he was able to continue the generation after that. And look at the dynasty had Vashish's, you know, blood in it. All this is like something before another great thing happening, you know. Thank you.
Okay, and Meenakshi Mataji, would you like to ask your question, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Prabhuji, yeah, very nice class, really nice class. So it's just a small question. Like one of the Sanatan temple from London.
Yes.
Bring the Ganga, like, you know, water, and then put it in the Thames River. So,
yes.
like, so our, like, you know, whoever passed away and their ashes, if they put, they will get the same benefit, like putting ashes in a Ganga, because they put some water, bringing from India, put it in the Thames.
Well, you know, I have my personal opinion on it. I just think that we are facilitating, you know, if there's a wedding in a family, they'll all go to Bharat to do shopping. and when their ancestors who need to be ashes to be taken there, so they have a shortcut. And the people who do it, they have money and all that, but they don't make any time, you know. And so I don't agree with that, honestly.
So, okay.
You can take your risk if you want to, you know. But I like I said, put in your will, please take my ashes to, you know, Kankal, not even Haridwar. You know, Kankal, Kushagat, and Haridwar, because Kankal, that's where you release the ashes. And then Kushagat, you do the yagya there, Pindadan. And then to purify yourself, you go to Har Ki Pauri. So now what they've started to do over there is they put the ashes in the Har Ki Pauri as well, because people don't want to go to these three places, which is only half of miles away, on the same side of the Ghat. So it's a human tragedy, really. They're so lazy. They go all the way flight. That's all Har Ki Pauri, we did it. I said, no, that's where you purify yourself. Now you're contaminating Har Ki Pauri. Because Har Ki Pauri is this, later on is Kankal, Kushagat, then Kankal. So it's down away. So you put the ashes there, then do the yagya, and then near the source, well, it's not the source, but near there, it's a cleaner water. That's where you become purified again. And that's Har Ki Pauri. So, you know, people, that's why Brahman, they say in Kali Yuga, you know, Brahman, they're Shudras. They want money, because of money, greed, and all that, they'll compromise. But Gangaji knows what is the real way to do it and what is the wrong way to do it, like that. And then you'll do austerity to make a lot of money, work 7 days a week, even nighttime or whatever. But when it comes to important thing like that, they want something in the Thames or Amon River or whatever. They form the Ghat. And so it's called, you know, you are kind of cheating, you know.
Yes.
And
nobody has given knowledge that you have to do the concord first. Like where is Sati has taken and given his body, isn't it? Concord. Daksh Prajapati place. Is that
Anji.
Concord?
Oh, Kankal. Yeah, that's what Daksh and Satiji, you know, and she burned there. And so it's got significance in there. I mean, when COVID happened, people couldn't travel. So what we told some people is when they came to us saying, okay, you can't travel now and all, they won't do that, so you don't want to keep it. So can you, if you go Ganga Jal water, put it in the ashes? So that's what they did. They put the Ganga Jal actually in the ashes, not in the Thames. And so then they waited. And when they could fly, they just went and did that, you know. So at least they had Ganga Jal in the ashes, you know.
And now, like, the Purushottam month is there, so I know we cannot, like, it's very important to have Snan in Gangas or, like, Ganges or, like, in Yamuna or whatever, like, in rivers. But if you bring the water from and use here at home, so you get same benefit, like.
Well, I mean, we should keep Ganga Jal there, because when I go to somebody's funeral and all that, come back, I stand at the doorstep and my wife or my children will put Ganga Jal on me to purify me, you know. But it doesn't mean I'll go to heavenly planets and whatever, then I get purified. So it purifies you also temporarily. But the ashes bede is actually, there's a vidhi they do, you know, at the Ghat Brahmins and then the, you know, Kushagat. And the significance there.
About ACs, I'm just saying, like, for us, like, Purushottam month, if you cannot travel right now, but he said very important to have bathing. So we have to bring the.
Okay, I see what you mean. If you're in Bharat, you know, you could do it. But over here, then chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the topmost. So chant loads of Mahamantras and you'll get the benefits.
But you have Ganga Jal, still you can use that, isn't it?
See, Ganga Jal gives benefit, then the Mahamantra gives benefit, then discussing Bhagavatam gives benefits. It's not just Ganga Jal only.
Okay, yeah.
You have to realize that there's many ways, you know, like Gangaji, ashes are drawn in, but then some people worship Gangaji, not for death purpose, just the worship itself. And some give Gangaji to us Suryadev. And then we do yagyas, and then we read Bhagavatam. There's so many spiritual benefits with so many methodology there. And the best one is, you know, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Parnashanam. That's the last verse of Bhagavatam says, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya. So Nam should be said, even though Gangaji is accounted in the Bhagavatam at the end. Kaler dosharnide rajan asti hi eko mahan guna kirtana dev krishnasya mukta sange param vajayat. That although there's so many dosh in Kali Yuga, but one mahan thing is you chant Krishna's name, you benefit the highest, you know. So if you don't have Gangaji and all that, please chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And also bathe in Gangaji if you can, and put gel on you, and do worship as well, you know.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Good question, though.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. If I can just pick up one point, though, that you raised. You talked about the pin there
Pin,
doing it.
yeah.
But isn't that actually determined by the number of days after death that you have to do it by a certain time? So therefore, you may not be able to do that in a timely fashion because it's done within sort of 7 or 14 days or something like that.
Yeah. There is, you know, there's a particular Karamkandi, you know, because I know somebody, Gujarati Brahmin, you know, Jeshbhai.
Yeah.
So he told me there's some calculation and all that. And I just have been doing what I've been trained by my Guru Maharaj. And he was saying that I did the same with our parents. As soon as they passed away, got the ashes, caught the flight. I didn't. My brothers went, the older one, because the middle one can't do it, either the older one or the youngest. So they went immediately and they did it within the period and the Pindadan. And then Pahawe is near Kurukshetra. They went there as well.
Right.
It was done immediately. But if those people are here, then I bring Jeshbhai in. And Jeshbhai does all his calculations and then does this particular Pindadan. And those Pindans are very important because it satisfies the Rakshas on the way. Because when the Jeev leaves, you know, they satisfy the Jiva who's going and who are around who's going to threaten him. So they do vidhi for them as well to protect them. So the Pind means the body. They get the subtle body on them to travel. It's quite complicated, you know. And
yeah, thanks very much. I just got slightly confused because usually you do the pinned here because of the timeliness, etc. So I was just concerned.
you know, in Karamkani it gets pretty complicated because then the vidhi itself is powerful. But with our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, you know, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you know, took ashes to Gayaji, and there he got initiated. Das, and immediately took darshan of Krishna, and he became a devotee, from a Jnani to a devotee, you know. But he went to do the Pindadan for his, you know, father. And so Gaudiya Vaishnava, you know, is very, very, what's the word, transcendental. And they simplified. So Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta simplified it quite a bit. Because the Mahamantra and all that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu takes over, you know. Being Gaudiya Vaishnava is very, very, you know, incredible, you know.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.